family, but in the dream, my family was a lot larger than just me and my children. It may have been like all my brothers and sisters and just all of their family. It felt like we was all together, and we was in this massively big house, and this house was my house. It was my house, and um, it was just really like the lower level was really nice and modern and updated. It was just so big and beautiful, and this dream was very, very nice. I mean, it felt like it happened in real life, and I was looking all around this the lower levels. I had first we was out. The dream started. We was just laughing. We was having some kind of get together, and it was just so much food, and we was just all together laughing and having a really good time. And then somebody was talking to me. I think it was an angel. I'm not sure, and told me to go over to the window and look outside. And I looked outside, and I saw the neighborhood was mixed with all kind of different ethnic people. It was Asians and Indians and just all kind of different races. And the neighborhood, how can I explain this neighborhood? It was like in the shape of a square, but and it had like it was in the shape of a square, but there was still openings that cars could drive out of. It's hard to explain. Like they could still like it was like a square, but they could still go out and drive out of the square on both sides to keep driving. And so anyway, there was these giant couches, like not giant couches, but just really big couches that was like in the shape of a square, and other sizes that was outside. And it was people outside. They had outside kitchens in the front of their home. It was like really nice stoves and couches and tables and just all kind of stuff and everything. It was like all the neighbors was this community, this place where we lived at. Everybody was together like a family, and we was just coming outside and enjoying one another. And as I'm looking, I was so happy. It's hard to explain. It's like everybody, like even in front of my house, I had this giant square couch with a table, and I had a giant cooking area, and then it was people outside with like dresses and all kind of crafts and stuff that they was making just to give away to the neighborhood. Everything was free, nothing was for sale. And then I saw these Asians. They had these out. Well, it was not just the Asians, but I focused in on the group of Asians, but it was other people who had it as well. And they had these outdoor kitchens, like an outdoor, sink and stove and everything in front of their house. And they was just cooking and feeding the neighborhood. Everything was free. It was so much food, and kids was out just playing, and people were playing with balls and just having so much fun and just outside, just having a really great time. And everything, it was just a really great neighborhood. And I was like, wow. And as I'm looking out the window, I said, this is the type of neighborhood that I always wanted to live in. I was like, wow, this is exactly what I always wanted. And then I went back in the house, and I was looking around the lower levels, like the first two to three levels, and it was just very modern and very nice, and it was so massive. And I kept looking and looking, and somebody was with me. I don't know if it was the angel or Holy Spirit or what. And they was just helping me look around. I was like, wow, this house is massive. And I said, oh, wow, this house is way bigger than I thought it was. And I knew I had enough room for everybody, because in the dream, it was me and my children. But I said, man, I got enough room for my whole giant family to come live here. And so I'm just looking around this house. It was so beautiful. This dream was so good. And so I went to the upper levels, like way up. And the upper levels wasn't modernized like the lower levels. And so, but it was massive. And I saw, oh my goodness, it's hard to explain all of this. I went into all these rooms. This dream was so real. And I was looking at like one room, for instance, it was these big, giant, massive rooms. And one room had like, I'm just looking at it in my head, it had like a set of four, no, not set four, a six. It was a six bunk beds, a bunk bed on one wall and another bunk bed on the other wall and a bunk bed in the middle. It had a big TV in it, and it was just a big, massive room. And I knew that the people who I got this house from, I guess I bought it, they had recently moved out, and they modernized the lower levels, but they didn't modernize the upper levels. I mean, this house was just a massive, like, I was on like I was looking at like maybe the fourth to sixth floors or something, and they didn't modernize that. And it was just still, it was kind of outdated, but they had really nice quality furniture. Like all of the woodwork was really thick, and oh man, I mean, I was in this dream for a long time. And so I'm looking around and I'm seeing all of this modern, I mean, not modern, like all of these big rooms and big furniture. But when I say like they didn't modernize it, it was like the TV wasn't like a flat screen TV. It was like those big TVs that you had like back in the 50s, real big ones like that. And it was, I mean, everything was in good shape and everything. It was just not modern. And there was these pots and pans, the kind of stuff that I love, because I love cast iron, and I really always struggle finding good pots when I need a pot, because I like really good sturdy good pots. And they had really good pots from like in the 50s, like really nice stuff. And I was like, wow, but you can tell it was old, like it needed to be cleaned and, tarnished and, just clean. Like it looked like real silver pots, but it needed to be updated. And so I went into that room. I went into other rooms. I saw that they had this one room that was really, really nice. Like you could tell a lot of kids lived there, and it was this kid room that was a kid's studio for taking pictures, and they had these big, beautiful sceneries for taking pictures. It was so amazing, like little costumes for the kids to come and take pictures, and all kind of different sceneries in the room for picture taking. It was amazing. So I was just going into room after room. It was so amazing. I saw this the room that I saw that was like six beds and six bunk beds was like for boys, and then I went into other rooms that was for girls, and you could tell it was for different age children. And I went into this other room that was like for little girls, and it was so pretty with pink and everything, but everything was just like back in the 50s is all, and it needed to be updated. And so then I was looking at that, and I saw upper girls rooms, and I went into some of these closets, and they was massive big closets, and some of the closets in these rooms was set up for the kids to play in as well. It had like chairs and decks in it, because they was really big massive closets. But some of them had regular sized closets. Well, not as regular as our standard regular, bigger than that, but just not massive. And so I just went in some of the closets, was looking around and everything, and they had left all their stuff behind. Like clothes was there, blankets was on the beds, toys was everywhere, toys on the beds and toys put up in their departments and everything. It was amazing. And so I'm just looking, but I love this stuff because I like old stuff. So I was actually really happy about it. But I just needed to update it and, like clean everything to make it look, like freshly painted. But it wasn't in bad shape. Everything was clean. It was no bugs or dirt or spiders or cobwebs, or everything was clean. It was just that I needed to be, updated like a fresh paint. Well, nothing was wrong with the paint. Let me say that nothing was wrong with the paint jobs, but it was just that I wanted to make it look more modern, like make it look modern with really old stuff. And then I'm probably sure I would get rid of all their clothes and blankets and stuff. I wanted, because the stuff had been there for a while, for a long time. But everything was clean. Everything was super clean. Like I literally opened up these pots, like took the lids off of them, and I could see that they were clean. And I could see, and these pots. I mean, it was a lot of them too, and they looked like they were, like I said, real silver, and it looked like, how you boil water over time. Well, actually, people probably don't know that in these modern pots, but back when we had good pots, like when I grew up, and you keep boiling water in them, you would see like little bubbles in the bottom from boiling water a long time over time, and that's what the pots had. So I was like, oh, they need to be, like you clean silver and everything, just to make sure, just update everything. And so I'm looking around at everything. And somebody was walking with me, and all of a sudden, it was a little girl there, laying in one of the bedrooms, and I was like, "What are you doing here?" And I asked her, I said, "Am I your mom?" And she said, "No, you're not my mom." And she was there for the party, and she had wandered upstairs, is what she was telling me. And she was just a cute little bitty girl, very pretty. I would say she was probably about 5 or 6 years old. Probably, I would give her, no, I would say maybe 4 or 5, really, because she was short. So 4 or 5. And I was like, "What are you doing here?" And then she walked with me, and we was looking around together. So we're just looking around this house. It was just massively, massively beautiful. And this angel or Holy Spirit, whatever was with me, was like, "Did you see this? Did you see this?" And kept telling me to look at different things. And I was seeing that they had stoves up there. I mean, this floor was way up away from the kitchen, but there was a kitchen up there, and it was big, it was massive, and it was like stoves and, like I said, pots. And because at first I was just looking at the pots, and then she told me, "Look over here, you see the stoves and everything that's set up." And I was like, "Oh, this is nice." And these rooms were, it's hard to explain. It's like they were really massive rooms, and there was rooms on both sides, like on each side, left and right. And I was just looking at all of that. So as I'm walking, I saw in one room something was moving around. I was like, "What is that?" And it was this little tiny baby monkey. And he was so cute. He was so cute. And I'm a little apprehensive, like most people, about animals. So I said, "Wow, I wonder, is he nice or evil or something like that?" And then he came close to me and was playing, and I said, "Oh, he's cute. He's a nice monkey." And I started laughing and joking with him and tickling him and stuff. And then he went off playing, and I was like, "What is a monkey doing here?" And then I said, and I had a knowing in a dream that the people who ever had this house also had animals, that it was a lot of animals, but I didn't get to see the animals yet. And then I was just looking at everything and just really taking everything in and just marveling at stuff. And I saw this room in front of me. Oh, yeah, at one point I had looked outside before that. I looked outside and I was seeing the scenery. It was windows all over the place to look outside. And I was like, "Wow, it's so beautiful. I love this neighborhood. It's just really nice, good neighborhood." And then, so I kept walking and looking around. And then this being that was with me, because I started getting distracted again. I'm looking at, focusing in on stuff and just taking too much time. And I looked ahead of me, and it was some kind, oh yeah, I forgot to say, it was rooms for adults up there too. Goodness, I'm just forgetting stuff. I saw these massive offices. I mean, massive offices, and they had like a bed in them too. And I didn't get to see the adult bedrooms, but I saw rooms for adults, like offices for adults and things of that nature. And I was getting to the bedrooms. I really wanted to see the bedrooms. And I looked ahead, and I saw this big, massive opening room, and it looked like it was a ballet room. And I was like, "Wow, I really want to see that ballet room." And so anyway, I started getting distracted looking at the details of different things, because I really was loving this stuff. And I literally prayed in a dream. I prayed in a dream, and I said, "Dear God, please give me this house and all of this stuff, Lord, and help me to update everything that needs to be updated. Please, God." I just started praying like, "Please, God, I really want this house in Jesus' name." I literally was praying that in a dream. And so anyway, I was really getting distracted, and this being told me, "Well, you don't want to get distracted. You want to keep looking around." So I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, I'll get to it." And I just felt like I was going to be in this dream until when I wanted to get out. I felt like it was going to last forever. And then I was looking at the details again and looking ahead at that room, just looking, looking down at these. I was looking at the pots again and all the different, silverware and everything, because I like stuff like that. So I was really mesmerized. It looked like real silver. And then I was looking up every periodically at this massive room, like, oh, I can't wait to see this massive room. And it had wooden floors and it had like a wooden banister on the sides. It looked like an ancient like ballet room. And it was really nice, but I could tell it was not just ballet. I could use it for ballet. I could use it for a banquet hall. I was wanting to check it out and see what it was used for. And then, and it just took up like a big, huge, this floor was massive. I can't even explain how big this floor was. And this part took up a big chunk of it. So I really wanted to see it. But then all of a sudden, I felt the dream ending. And I was like, oh, no, no, no. And then it ended. I was like, oh, man. So anyway, this dream I felt like it was symbolic. But it definitely reminded me of my daughter's dream. My youngest daughter had a dream when she saw a heavenly mansion. And she saw how it was just this massive, massive mansion with all these different floors and everything. And her dream was just way, way more detailed than mine. I was only in this dream altogether probably about 30 minutes. But she was in her dream for 4 years. And my dream was symbolic, seeing the monkey. And then I said, oh, I know it's a lot of animals. Because she saw a whole bunch of animals. So that was symbolic. Seeing the little girl that really wasn't my daughter, but she was just there, reminded me of how my daughter saw I had all these other kids that are not my kids, that God had given me to take care of. And just this massive house. My daughter also saw a ballet room and all kind of big, massive rooms and everything like that. And just like I was saying, these rooms were massive. And it was different size rooms, but every single room was a massive, massive room. And like I said, even though I saw some closets that looked regular size, but there was multiple ones in the room. So I didn't get to see all the closets. I was just really walking real fast. But I believe the dream was symbolic. The one I had definitely was symbolic, but I think the Lord gave it to me just to give me confirmation for the dream that my youngest daughter had. And this dream was just, I love this house. I love the way my daughter explained the house she saw. I'm just so excited about the things of God, the things to come. And I'm just in awe right now. I'm in shock. I didn't even have time to really let my shock sit in because I just grabbed the iPad and started recording. But this was just an absolutely wonderful, wonderful dream. And I give God all the glory. The things that He has for His children prepare for us are better than we could ever, ever imagine. Ever imagine. To somebody else, they might say, yuck, what are you doing with this old stuff? But I love stuff like that. And God knows I do. I love like old pots, old furniture. I think stuff was built so much better back then. So for me, this was heaven. And somebody else may say, oh my goodness. But I loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. And it was just, we were so happy, like all my family and all the neighbors. We were so happy, just a great area. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And I pray you all receive this dream well. And I love you all. God bless you. Bye.